Hi everyone, welcome back to my third video on UiPath robotic process automation. So in the first two videos, what we covered about the robotic process, what is robotic process automation. We also discussed about the robotic process automation uses, and then also we discussed about the robotic process automation backend process, and also we discussed more about what is robotic process, how does this helps in automating the business process. Okay, and also we covered the differences between the normal automation and the robotic process automation, and then we had a hands-on video to automate the business process of moving files from one folder to another folder, where the banking, commercial loans, or in the loans departments will be using this kind of business process. And also I have explained about the automating the business process of saving attachments from the emails which have the keyword in the subject line. Basically, the recruiter, whoever receives the resumes, right, with the subject line, he has to download each and every resume and place them in a particular folder. So this our business process we have automated in the second video. So today I'm gonna explain little critical business process, bigger business process we are gonna automate. Okay, so we are going to automate the business process of reading invoice details from the PDF files, store these invoice details into an Excel sheet or CSV file, and then submit these invoice details from the Excel sheet to an invoice portal. Okay, let's assume I am from invoicing department. Okay, so I'm working for a big organization like IBM, TCS, Cognizant, etc. Okay, so now as an invoice department, I'll be receiving lots and lots of invoices, right, from different vendors. So like IBM, like of companies will have multiple vendors. So every vendor serves to IBM and they will be charging money for their services, right? So each and every vendor will be submitting their invoices every month, once in a month or twice in a month, right? So they will be receiving these invoices, and then once they receive the invoices, they have to basically submit these invoices in their invoice portal, right? Organization's invoice portal, so that once the invoices are submitted and approved, the money will be dispatched to the corresponding vendors, right? So this entire process we are going to automate. Okay, so first of all, let me explain. Here, let me show you. So I have a folder called invoices, where the organization will be storing all the invoices that are received from the different vendors like ABC, XYZ, Technosoft. These are all the different vendors. Okay, and we have to basically read the details from the PDF which are required for us to submit an invoice in the invoice portal. So I want to read who is the vendor name, what is the vendor name, I want to read the invoice number, I want to read the vendor's email, I want to read the due date, I want to read the balance amount, right? So I'll be reading all those details and I'm gonna write all those details into an Excel sheet so that I will have an Excel sheet of backup, right, as a backup. So once I read all these invoices, multiple invoices, and write into Excel sheet, I have to read these details again and input them into an invoicing portal. Let's assume this is my invoicing portal, where I'll be inputting them and then submitting each and every invoice to the invoice department. for the approval. So this entire business process I'm going to show you how to automate. Okay, so let's jump on to UiPath now. Okay, so if you refer to my previous videos, I have explained you guys about different activities that are available in the activity pane, right? And also I have explained you about the variables and basic process flow charts, building the flow charts and building the sequences. Okay, so if you didn't see those videos, you can go ahead and see those videos before you start listening this particular video. But still, if you don't listen also, that is okay. You can listen this video. It still makes sense. Okay. So first, what I did, I have taken activity called sequence. Okay. Dragged and dropped here, and then I renamed this sequence as read PDF and invoice. Right. Once you rename it, double click on this particular sequence so that you can put all the activities which are required to automate entire business process of reading the data from PDF. First, we are going to read the data from the PDF. Okay, that is first our agenda. Okay, so in this sequence, first what I did, so basically to read the data, what I should do, first I have to identify the folder where all the invoices have been stored, right? For that purpose, what I am doing, I am using an activity called, I'm using an activity called assign activity. Okay, drag and drop here, and then in the assign activity, I have declared one variable called folder name, which is string. Just click on here and then type the variable name and select your variable type. And then I'm declaring that variable here and passing the path of the PDF files from my system. I have provided the path. That means I'm storing the path in the variable called folder name. And again, I'm using the same assign activity, dragged and dropped the assign activity here. And now I have declared a variable called files so that it's an array. Okay, it's an array. So that I can store all these files in this array. Okay, what I'm doing here, I basically whenever you click on F, just say you type F, because I already declared a files variable, it shows here. Okay, just select this. And then here what I'm doing, I'm actually using a function called directory.getFiles, and I'm specifying the variable which I defined in the above step. That means I'm specifying the path of the folder. Okay, so I'm getting all the files from the folder called folder name and storing those files into an array called files. That's it. And now, once I'm done with this, because I'm actually building a data table. Why? Because I have to read the data from the PDF files and store this data into a data table format, right? This kind of format. Okay. To do that, first I'm gonna create an inbuilt data table in UiPath. Okay. We need to call an activity called build data table. So this is my activity. I dragged and dropped my data table here. And once you drag and drop the data table, you have to basically define output here. My output is I want to store this entire data table in a variable called extract data table. See here, this is the variable I defined here, and variable type is data table. Okay, that is done. If you click on this, you will have all the properties at the right side. So I'm defining that properties here. Okay, so now you have to basically define the data table, right? To do that, you click on data table and then add all the columns that needs to be created in that table. So how? You click on this add column symbol. Okay, as soon as you click on, you need to define your column name and define your data type and click copy. Right? Done. Now again you click on add button, click vendor name, select data type and click copy. Now again you have to add. So like that I have added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, total 5 columns. Invoice number, vendor name, balance due, due date, email. Right? Done. So I have defined the data table in the UiPath. Now once I define the UiPath data table, so now what I am doing, I have stored all the files, right, available in this particular folder. Now I have to open each folder and read the data. So for that I need to do, I have to use an activity called each, for each. So I drag and drop my activity called for each, drag and drop here. What I am doing here, what I did, I am actually stating for each item where files, in the files I have stored all the items here. So I am defining for each item in files, variable called files. We need to open the file, right? For that I'm going to use activity called start process from the application. So if you see here in the application, I have start process. I dragged and dropped a process called start process, right? So now what process do I do? What application do I need to start? The application called item. That means each file, this file has the array, okay? First file called Invoice ABC Corp will be assigned to item. That will be opened. And second file, XYZ Corporation will be assigned to item. I'm defining that item here. I'm asking to open item 2. And then it goes again here. It will take item 3. And then again comes here. Start that particular process, means opens the PDF. So that's all. Okay. So let's say first I have opened this particular PDF. Now what I need to do, I have to read the data. So before I read the data, I'm just providing some delay of 3 seconds here. 3 seconds delay I provided so that the PDF can be loaded properly. Once I loaded the data, now I have to read the data. How? So now here I'm going to use an activity called anchor based activity, which is very important for us. Read the data from the PDF. I drag and drop. Let me show you that. Drag and drop here. Okay. So once I drag and drop, this is my anchor base. So in the anchor base, you will have anchor left side and you will have activity right side. So let me explain what is anchor and what is activity here. Okay. I will be using find element as an anchor. Okay. And I will be using get text as an activity. So let me explain, guys, what is the difference between these two. Okay. So I dragged and dropped here. Okay. Let me show you. Let's assume I want to basically read the data called from, means vendor. So this invoice is from which vendor? Okay. From ABC Corporation. So what I'll do, indicate on the screen. First I am finding the element. So I am going to find the element called from, and then I am going to retrieve the text, corresponding text called ABC Corporation. Okay. So first indicate that this is my find element. So this slow. So let me just put it here. So guys. Okay, let me just do it again. Okay, let me just do it again. So you are gonna, I'm gonna find this element first. Okay, and then I'm gonna indicate the text which I want to retrieve. This is the text which I want to retrieve. Click on here Done. Now, so my anchor is means I'm gonna find the element from, and then I'm gonna get the text corresponding to that from element. Okay. Now here I have to define what is anchor. Anchor is left side and my get text is in right side. So click on anchor base, and here you have to define the anchor position. My anchor position is, which is this one, right? From my anchor position is left, so I just selected left, right? That's how I created one anchor base for one element in the PDF. Like that, you have to define each and every anchor. Okay, so here first I have created one anchor where I am finding an element called invoice, and I am reading a text invoice number. And then again I have created another anchor finding an element from and reading this. I have created another anchor here. The another anchor means this is my anchor, and then I am reading the amount, pending amount, right here. And then I have created another anchor to read the due date. Okay, and then in the same way I have created another anchor, this one. Let me show you this one. Okay, this is my email ID. I want to read the email ID. For that, what we are going to do, again just drag and drop the anchor base. I'm showing you this is different concept, little different concept. Okay, so now I'm gonna, my anchor is finding is my anchor, get text is my action. Okay, indicate you are finding me. First I'm gonna find the element called ABC Corporation, right? And now once it finds that, it will read the text called abc.com. Okay, email of the abc.com, right? But here your finding anchor is on top and your text is at bottom, not like left and right, right? So now you have to go to anchor base and define your anchor position as top, because your find element is on top. So automatically see it arranged in a vertical order. Okay, that's how I defined the find element of ABC Corporation. Okay, so let me just delete this again. Okay, because I already done that. Okay, so now, so this is how I defined anchor base to read all the fields from PDF. Once I'm done with that, okay, we are in actually for each loop. We are still in for each loop. First I opened what we did. Let me explain again. For each file in the files, for each PDF file in the array called files in the PDF, read the data, and now what I'm going to do, I am gonna, so here I explained you, right, we have actually created one data table called extract data table. Extract data table, we already defined the columns. Now I'm gonna add the data to that particular data table. How? So here one more thing we missed out here is, so as soon as I captured the data from my PDF, I'm actually, this is my get text, I'm getting the text here. So here in the get text activity, you have to store your output, right? So invoice number, this is my invoice number. I'm storing that invoice number in a variable called invoice number. So I have defined a variable here. This is my generic ID. The second one, I'm storing this vendor name in a variable called company. And then I'm storing the due amount in a variable called balance. I'm storing this due date in a variable called due date. Okay, I think you already know about how to define the variable at the variable tab, right? And now I'm storing the email of the vendor called email, right? So now I need to add the data, all this data, to the table where I defined at the top, right? So now you have to use an activity called add data row. Okay, add data row. This one. Drag and drop here. So as soon as you drag and drop here, I need to define the columns array. So same array row. So whatever the values, I'm storing to the variables, right? Email and everything. So you have to define the array of that particular variables, right? I'm defining invoice number, whatever I stored in the above variable, company I stored, balance, due date, email. This is my array. And what is the data table that you are going to store? I have already defined at the top called extract data table. I provided data table, I provided the array row where I have defined all the variables whatever I captured from the PDF, right? That is done. So once you add the row, that means it added a first row in the data table. First PDF opened, read, and that particular data has been added to the data table. Now you have to write this. This is a data table, inbuilt data table in the UiPath. Now you have to write the data to Excel sheet. So to write a data in Excel sheet or CSV file, there is an activity called write CSV. So this is your write CSV. You need to drag and drop here, and then have pointed. Basically, you have to define the Excel path here. So I have selected the Excel sheet. So this is my input Excel sheet. Okay, I have selected that. Okay, I'm actually asking, and what is my data table which I want to store? We have extract data table which we already defined above. So I am storing that extract data table. I'm writing the data from the extract data table. Okay, so how it is going to write? Like this. Invoice number and all these things. Okay, so here, so this is my extract table. Now, so I wrote all the data to my Excel sheet, right? And now let me just check again if I miss anything. So here we defined the Excel sheet where you want to write, and we defined the data table where you are from where you are writing the data, right? And then I have added a small delay here, like 3 seconds, and then I'm closing the application. I have called an activity called close application. Okay, so that means it closes the first PDF. Okay. Now, and again it goes for the second PDF. It goes to again for each loop, and then it opens the second PDF and it reads the data, and that data will be stored on all the different variables, and then we are going to add those variables into a table again called extract data table, right? And then I'm going to write that row into an Excel sheet invoice input, right? Done. So this way it loops multiple times. The number of times means number of times equal to the number of files available, right? And then also along with that, what I'm doing, I have inserted here a read CSV. Basically, I'm just reading the data also, so that I can input this data into an invoice portal. So I just dragged and dropped my read CSV activity here, and then I defined, basically I'm defining from where I want to read. I want to read the data from invoice input. Just now we wrote into this invoice input, right? I'm just reading the data and storing into a new data table called invoice table. So in the invoice table, okay, and then what is the file path I'm defining here, and what is the new data table where I want to store here is invoice table, right? So that is it. That means, so let me explain entire thing again. I have defined Basically, I'm opening each and every file, reading the data, and then writing each row into a data table, and I'm writing that data table into an Excel sheet, and then closing the application, and then again I am reading that Excel sheet here. And then what you need to do, you have to, once you read the data, whatever the data you read, that you have to enter into your invoice portal. Okay. For that, what I did, I have actually created a new sequence. I just dragged and dropped my new sequence again here, drag and drop, and I named it as invoice submission. Basically, I have segregated into two activities, two major activities. Okay. One major activity is reading the data and then submitting the invoice. Okay. So in the submit invoice, what I did, as soon as you read the data, first what I am doing, I am opening the portal, invoice portal of the organization. So let's assume this is my invoice portal. Okay, I have provided that URL. So what is the activity to open the browser? Open browser is the activity. Drag and drop here, and then I have provided the URL of the activity, right? And then what I did after that, I have to basically, I read the data. Let's say you have here, there are total 4 invoices. Let's assume. So for every row, I have to read the first row and then enter the first row data here and submit here. That is one, the invoice is done. Second vendor invoice, second row, read the data, enter the data in invoice and submit. Third row, like that. So that means I need to have some loop so that I can read each and every row, right? So that means I'm actually using an activity called do while. I dragged and dropped activity called do while here. Okay, this is my do while. Okay, in do while, what I am doing, I'm actually defining again activity called for each row. Drag and drop for each row activity. For each row, do this. What do you need to do? For each row, invoice table. So if you see here, we read the invoice table. Basically, we read the Excel sheet and then stored it in an invoice table, a new table called invoice table, right? So where I am reading it, let me show you again. In the previous sequence, and then what we did, we actually read the data and stored it in a inbuilt data table called invoice table. So now I am calling that invoice table in the sequence, okay? For each row in invoice table, for each row in invoice table, okay, what you need to do? I want to drag and drop an activity called input. Okay, let me show you here. So my system is slow. Input dialog. Okay, and drag and drop here. Type on. Okay, type into. Sorry, my mistake. So I am using an action called type into. Drag and drop here. Now I'm defining here. Simple. Type into. Just drag and drop here. Now just open this invoice here, because we already opened this portal, right? After opening this portal, I'm just indicating the element. So I want to enter the data here. Okay, indicate that element here. So give me a minute, my system is very slow. Okay, I indicated that element. Now I'm gonna define what do I need to enter. I have to enter a data from the Excel sheet, right? Whatever the Excel, we read everything into a data table called invoice table. So what I am saying here, I'm going to define, let me just delete this again. Okay, here what I did, I captured, and what I'm saying, I'm actually first row of invoice table I'm reading here. Okay, what I'm saying here, my first column is invoice number. Row, I'm defining the row. What is the column name? Invoice number dot to string. I'm converting into string. I'm asking to enter this value. Okay, and then again I'm gonna use the activity called type into again, and now this time I'm gonna indicate the second element. Okay, sorry, this one I have to use. Let me use this. Okay, Control Z. Okay, now I want to use this activity. So now I'm gonna indicate this vendor name. So I'm inputting what I am typing here, row vendor name dot to string. Okay, now I have to input balance due. From where I have to input the data from this column, balance due. I just specified row balance due and then convert into string. Right? In the same way, due date. I am reading the data from due date column. See, if you see, there is no space here, and also there is no space here. And then convert into string. And then submit the data. So what I did, I have actually dragged an activity called click, drag and drop here, and specify, basically indicate this. I'm just indicating this on the screen, right? Click here. That's it. That's what I'm doing. And now, so first row we read. Okay, from the first row, I entered all these details into invoice and clicked on submit. Now, what happens, because we are in for loop, again it is gonna for each row. Now it comes to second row. How many rows are there here, right? In the Excel sheet, those many times it's gonna loop it. Okay, it goes to the second row. Again it is gonna basically entire. So before going back, right, here I'm clicking on go back. That means enter the data, submit, and then click on back, delete the second row, enter the data, submit, click on back, and then read the third row. So like that, how many rows are there in Excel sheet? It is going to read. And then I'm closing the invoice portal. I use the closed application, here, close application active, right? Back. So now let me run this particular flow. Okay, what I'm doing here, first, if I see my activity, I've just connected my start with the read data, read PDF, and then from read PDF, I'm submitting the invoice, right? So let me close this, then run this.